Hi everyone, welcome to the 20th day of the 21 day self-esteem series that I'm doing, and today's topic is very interesting and something that's very close to my heart. So today we are going to talk about the fear of being seen. Now, before I go ahead, I must let you know that I'm not going to talk about this topic as somebody who has solved it 100%, but rather somebody who is aware of it, who has felt it, and who understands it. So, and at the same time, I also must let you know that I'm not somebody who believes that there's something as 100% when it comes to doing inner work or doing a belief work, or when it comes to personal growth. There's nothing as 100% or a certain destination mark that you need to reach to be able to feel happy or fulfilled that I finally done the work, or to feel the changes in your life. No, transformation or changes are not like that. You do not have to reach an end or a destination to feel like that. So I'm not going to talk about this topic as somebody who has definitely overcome it, but rather as somebody who is aware of it, who understands it, and who who knows how it feels like, and what our approach can be when we want to work on this, when we want to work on this fear. So, because our entire series is about having an unhealthy self-esteem, so one of the things is that this fear that we have, fear of being seen, it is one of the most dominant outcomes of having an unhealthy self-esteem. It is a consequence that we feel, I think, most like, I think, at every second of our life. And it this one fear affects our life, affects one's life to a very very much great extent, that you can feel, if you can feel its consequences uh, a lot, that to the extent that you want to solve, that you want to do something about it. That is why you are here. Okay, so let's begin. So let's understand what is this fear exactly. So in simple terms, we have when I say that fear of being seen, it is simply when we feel afraid and anxious of being seen by others, or when it feels very difficult to be in the presence of other people. So you have a fear of being seen when you do not feel comfortable, or it feels difficult. Just being in the presence of other people starts to feel very difficult. You do not like, your body doesn't stay in the neutral phase, rather, it's like here or there. So a lot of activities, your mind starts racing. You just do not feel comfortable being in front of other people, or just being seen, or just being perceived as something or somebody. So that is how you know that, okay, you have this fear of being seen. And I'm sure, when if you are watching this video, you definitely have the idea whether you have this fear or not. It is not something that can be explained in words better, but if you feel it, you would know it. Now, as a result of having this fear, here are a few things that happen. First, you become super conscious of your own self. That is, when you are in the presence of somebody else, you become very much careful of how you're acting, how you act, how you talk, or how you're eating. So you become very much conscious of how you are being, of your activities. Why? Because somewhere there's this, first is because we have a fear of being seen. I'm just not feeling comfortable, being seen by others, by having other people watch me, or by having their eyes on me. And somewhere, there's this fear of judgment that creeps in, that, again, makes our mind race, and anxiety creeps in and everything. So the one of the outcomes is, or one of the consequences is, that you feel, or you become very self-conscious of your own self. Second thing that happens is, as a result of having this fear, is you hold yourself back a lot, which, by which I mean that, definitely when you have this fear, you are not going to be able to do a lot of things in life that you wanted to do, or that you want to do. That some, maybe you have a desire that, what, I want to maybe participate in some event, I want to dance, or I just want to speak, I want to host this certain event. But because you will have this fear, it will stop you. You will not be able, you will not even be trying or auditioning for that certain thing, because this fear holds you back. Because to do certain things, you have to let yourself being, you have to let other people see you. So it ends up holding you back a lot, and you end up living a life where you are unable to do a lot of things that you want to do. Third thing, it hampers your ability to express yourself. It just feels hard to bear your real self to other people. And I think, when it comes to the word that you feel, it feels very difficult to express yourself, I think it is the core of what this fear of being seen leads you to. How this fear of being seen hampers you the most. It hampers your ability to express your own self. And when I say expressing yourself, it means that being able to express what your beliefs are, what your thoughts are, how you think, where you come from, what you believe in, how you talk. Just I mean, you're just unable to, you're just not able to let other people see who you really are. Because how do we do that? How do we let other people see us? Through expression, right? Self expression. When we express ourselves, only then people get to know us, or only then we get to know somebody. So this fear of being seen, it directly impacts or hampers your ability to express yourself. Because when you have this fear, there is this desire or tendency to hide, to just hide from others, to not let other people know us very deep or a lot about us. So these were some of the effects that having this fear leads you to. Now, next part is, let us understand why do we have this fear, or why are we so scared of being seen? What is happening behind the scene? And this is very much important, because if you are somebody who has this fear right now, what you could be doing is you could be blaming yourself. You could be criticizing yourself, you could be questioning yourself, you could be wishing hard that, oh, I just wish I never had this fear. You could be comparing yourself with somebody else who does not have this fear, and you could be self-pitying, you could be criticizing your own self, blaming your own self, and that is not going to help you anyway. All right, turning against your own self is not going to help you anyway. And as I believe that if there's something that you want to work upon, or if there's something that you're struggling with within yourself, you have to be the person who, I mean, you have to be able, you have to choose to work on it first. You have to choose to be compassionate towards your own self, because others are not going to do that work for you. Only you can help yourself. So as long as you keep criticizing yourself, blaming yourself, you're not actually working on this fear of being seen. It is not going to, you're not going to go beyond it magically one day. So let us understand, why do we have this fear? Where does this fear come from? See, you do not develop this fear out of nowhere, neither were you born with it. A lot of times we think that, this is my destiny, I was born with it, just because we do not have an idea of how do we develop this fear. See, any kind of fear, in fact, the kind of personality that we adopt as an adult, all of it is influenced heavily by the kind of childhood that you had. So certain kinds of experiences or events that you went through as a child or in your childhood, it shapes your personality. It leads you to develop certain fears in your life. So the only difference between you, who has this fear of being seen, versus somebody who does not have this fear of being seen, is the way you grew up, the way, the kind of messages that you received, or the kind of feedback that you got about your own self growing up. See, as a child, when we are growing up, we are open to receiving feedback about our own selves. So what happens is, basically, that is the phase where we are just forming our identity. So we want other people to tell us, how am I? Am I good enough? Am I lovable? Am I capable? Am I worth listening to? Am I worthy enough? So based on the kind of people, how people treated you, how you were treated, or how what kind of messages were you constantly given. So for some people it could be critics. So like, if you had a critical parent or a guardian, maybe you grew up feeling or being criticized a lot, versus somebody who had maybe very understanding and emotionally available parents. So they grew up not being criticized, but rather, receiving the messages that you are loved, we'll always be there with you, you are worthy enough, we want to listen to you, your views, thoughts matter, express yourself. So here, this person would grow up into an adult who would be very fine with expressing themselves, because they have grown up with the belief that I'm worthy enough, there's nothing wrong with me, I deserve to be seen, and all of these things. But here, for somebody who faced or had certain events, or they just grew up being criticized a lot, or feeling like, they did not matter, or they are not worthy enough, or there was something wrong with them, they would grow up into an adult who would find it very difficult to express themselves, because now the belief that they have within them is opposite of is opposite of what this person has, who does not have this fear. So coming back to this case, where we have this fear of being seen, we develop this fear when we face certain kind of experiences or events in our childhood, where we felt that, what, expressing myself or being myself, or letting myself be in presence of other people is not safe. So specifically speaking, what happens is that, as a child, when, suppose you were just being yourself, right? You were just being yourself, and as children we do not think much, or we do not manipulate what we're saying, we do not try to people please. So suppose, as a child, you were just being yourself, but the response that you got felt very unsafe to you. Suppose you were just being yourself, you were just singing by yourself or just expressing yourself to the fullest, and somebody bullied you, or say your vulnerability was taken advantage of. Now, how you as a child tried to make sense of it was that, you know what, when I did this thing, the response that I got, it felt very unsafe. I did not feel safe. What happened then? So you will try to find out, okay, what led to that unsafe, response, or what led me to feel unsafe. And you would find that, you know what, when it happened when I was being myself. That means you will relate that being myself means unsafety. Being myself means other people will bully me, other people will take advantage of my vulnerability. So this is how you linked these two things, like your child version linked these two things back then, that being myself is very dangerous. And up until now you have been carrying this belief just like that. That is what led you to fear being seen. That is what led you to believe, like deep within yourself, that there's something wrong with being seen, or if I let myself be seen by other people, something wrong is going to happen. Or you automatically start to feel unsafe when you are in the presence of other people. I hope now you understand why it happens. And when I'm narrating it, I'm explaining it like a particular event that happened in your childhood. Not definitely a particular event, but it can happen just through one event, or most of the times it happens when you were either criticized or when you were made to feel unsafe, when you expressed yourself or when you were just being yourself over a particular, over a long period of time, like consistently. So because when this happens consistently, the message that you receive, the belief that you form within you is that it's not safe being myself out there. I need to hide myself. I need to hide who I am in really from other people so that I'm safe. Because as a child, your safety is your top concern. You want to survive. So that is a decision you made. And and as an adult, you have been carrying it. And that is why, even that is why as an adult, even though your mind knows that, okay, in reality there's nothing to be, scared of, a lot, that like the fear of being seen is kind of, very invalid. Like nothing would happen if I'm just being myself or expressing myself. You know all of this logically. Your mind knows, your brain knows, you can think through it. But the fear that you feel, it's your body feeling, it's your subconscious, it's stored in your subconscious. Because the brain that you have, the logic that you're thinking through now, the logic through which you are trying to make sense of this fear, you only developed it as an adult. This brain was not there when you were a child. So when as a child you formed this belief, you formed this connection that to be safe I need to hide my real self, you made it through your body. Your body is your second brain. So right now you need to understand it. And something to know, that something also to know is that, uh, as a child, when you made this decision that I must hide myself, I must not let my real self be out to ensure my safety, it was like a coping mechanism. So the aim was to protect yourself. So instead, and to the entire agenda of helping you understand, or that why you have this fear or how you develop this fear, is so that you can stop criticizing your own self, stop blaming yourself, and rather understand your fear, understand where it comes from. And now that you know that it was your own version who developed this fear, or who made this decision from a place to protect your own self, instead of hating this fear, or instead of hating yourself for developing this fear, you would start to accept it. You would start to understand yourself. And for you to truly go beyond this fear, for you to truly let this fear ease in your body, or for you to actually let go of this fear slowly, gradually, over time, acceptance needs to happen. You cannot be criticizing yourself and thinking that one day I will be able to go beyond it, one day I will be able to express myself fully, and just not feel scared of anybody. You cannot do it with criticizing yourself. No. First is acceptance needs to happen, and the first step towards acceptance is understanding. And now that you understand that where did this fear come from, you will have you will come from a place of understanding and compassion for your own self. There will not be blaming or self questioning. So yes, first is I want you to do that, understand it, and acknowledge it. Just acknowledge the truth, just acknowledge what you were, what happened, and how you are, and why you are this way. Second is, let's move to the most important part. What do we do now? Okay, now I know I have this is something that I have. I understand why I have this, but I want to go beyond it. How do I get rid of this fear? Or what do I do now? Because this fear isn't helping me. So first is that definitely this fear, when you have this fear of being seen, it impacts your life to a very much great extent. It holds you back from doing things. It doesn't let you express yourself fully. It doesn't let you be your authentic self in front of people. It's like you're just suppressing your own self within. So definitely we all want to get rid of it. But when it comes to solution part, I want you to know first thing, I want you to understand first thing that stop wanting to just get rid of this fear 100%, because that's a very harsh expectation from your own self. That's like expecting that I want to get rid of this fear to the extent where I start to feel like somebody who has never had this fear. That's very that's first is that that's a lot of expectation from your own self. And that's also like erasing, or erasing a part of your life, because the fact that you have this fear, or you have this fear today, it means that certain things happen in your life, like it's like a part of your life that led you to be like this today. So wanting to just let go of this fear completely, to not have even uh, you know a speck of it on you, is like wishing that I wish I never I never went through all of this, or my younger version never made this decision. That's harsh, because and when you do it, when you start to have an expectation that I want to become, or I want to get rid of this fear so much so that I start to behave, or I start to just feel as much carefree in front of other people as somebody does who never had this fear. That's like neglecting a part of you. That's like neglecting that small version of you who made this decision, which you cannot, which is harsh, because that version was trying their best to protect you. So you cannot hate on it, you cannot neglect it, you cannot wish to just neglect it. And this would not help you, because this puts a lot of pressure on your head, because now you have made a very impractical and ideal uh, you know um, expectation, destination, that this is what I want to, this is where I want to go. And what is that destination? That I want to feel like somebody who had never had this fear, which is impractical, because the fact that you have this fear means that certain things happened with you. You cannot expect yourself to just let go of all that entirely. And it will not help, because it adds a lot of pressure on you, that I need to be like this. Okay. And as a result of which, it would not because when you finally, when you're finally done with the belief work or inner work, to the extent where you are finally okay with exposing yourself to being seen. And it definitely starts with one step at a time. You will not be able to let yourself be seen in the start only, because now you have this expectation that I need to be like somebody who had never had this fear, I need to feel like somebody who had never had this fear, or I need to act like somebody who had never had this fear. You will not be able to even start, because when you're starting with letting yourself being seen, you are going to carry you are going to carry yourself there, right? And so you are going to have remnants of all the parts of you. Then you will feel very disappointed with yourself, that no, this is not how I want to show up like. So it would be like there would be expectation that I want to show up like this perfect version of myself. So that would not even let you start on your journey of being seen, because at the end, when you are trying to overcome this fear of being seen, you would have to let yourself be exposed little by little, step by step. When you feel able to do that, when you feel that okay, it scares me a little bit, but at the same time a part of me wants to do this, because I know that this is something I want to work towards. Now, so okay, so this is something that you do not have to do when we come to the solution part. So what is it that you have to do? For next is that move with acceptance. Accept this fear, understand why you have it. So acceptance and understanding your fear is very important, because we don't want to go against this fear. We are not here to hate this fear, to do not to dislike this fear and then trying to prove something to somebody else. Or because if you're doing that, because if you are uh, trying to get rid of this fear from a place of hatred, from a place of I don't like having this fear, or I don't understand why I have this fear, it's like you are trying to neglect or dishonor that younger version of yourself who made this decision, when in real that decision was made by your younger version to protect you. So instead of going against this fear, or like being harsh on yourself to go beyond being seen, or to let yourself be seen, because then it will only add to your fear. What you really have to do is, you have to the thing that you have to do is, you have to talk to that younger version of yourself. You have to make that younger version of you understand that it's safe now, that now you're an adult, you're very much capable of protecting your own self. So it's like it's like I wanted to visualize it like there's a very scared version of your own self, you know, a younger and scared version of yourself residing within you, who has made this decision, who stops you today as an adult when you think through, you know, when you think through it and try to being seen. It protects you that don't go there, it's going to be, you know, very unsafe. But now that you have all of this awareness, now you can talk to that little child of you which shows up in inner voice as fear, that now it's safe. It is safe because now I understand you. Now I know where you came from, and now I know why you felt so unsafe. Because you were a child back then, but now I'm an adult. I'm very much capable of protecting you, of protecting myself, and I promise that it is not going to be that bad. Because see, as a child, it was the end of the world. Feeling unsafe is a very big thing, but now you're an adult. You can handle even if somebody maybe throws a critic or a judgment to you. So the thing is that you do not have to prove yourself to somebody else, but you have to prove or make promise to that younger version of you who still resides within you, that it's safe now. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to be there with you. That it's not going to be that bad. That it doesn't have to prove anything to somebody else. It's just that I want to do it from a place of desire, from a place of will. It's not that we are here to prove anything to anybody else. So you have to take that fear along with you. Only then it will ease down. Like, because running away from this fear, trying to neglect it, trying to hate it, is not working. You need to understand this fear, where it came from, what is the motive of this fear. It is trying to protect you. Then you need to let it know that I understand you, I know why you're here, but now I'm an adult, I'm very much capable of taking care of myself, and I promise I will protect you also. We are safe now. So it's like it's a slow process, but first is having this awareness, understanding it, acknowledging your own self, acknowledging your past. Understanding it is the first. So move with acceptance instead of moving with hatred or negligence. Okay. So yeah, so the main point is that you have to prove to your own self that it is safe now. Okay. And how you eventually go beyond this fear. You go beyond this fear when you come to a place, uh, internally, like, via belief work, where you feel that now I feel safe enough to expose myself. And little by little, whenever it comes to exposing yourself, you do not do it harshly or all of a sudden. You do not challenge yourself in a very unsafe environment, in a very harsh way. That would never work. That would only make you fearful more. So understand that you have to be here with your own self. You have to understand yourself. If there's fear, a very strong fear, you have to come from a place of understanding, that I understand you. And you have to give yourself a lot of ease, that, you know what, okay, we'll just start with this small thing. And if it feels that bad, if it feels that unsafe to you, we will come back, we'll not do it again. So you have to give yourself this leash. You do not have to be very harsh on yourself. All right. So yes, I think important point is that instead of looking at this fear negatively, you understand it and then approach it with love and compassion for your own self. So yes, this was it for today. And as I said, that I'm not going to talk about few tips or tricks that can just help you get rid of this fear, because that is not something I believe I have done or I've reached to a point where I can talk about it. And honestly, I don't think there is any such thing that you would do and just this fear would just go away, because it is about working internally, bringing a change within yourself that leads you to have permanent change, permanent transformation. We are not here for 1 or 2 day, contest of proving ourselves that, you know what, I can go beyond this fear, see, I can let myself be seen, and then come back even more fearful. That is not what our aim is. So this was all that I had to talk about this fear of being seen. And yes, if it helps you, and if you want to work on this, or if you need a place where you can feel seen, or uh, have a community of likewise people, you are very much welcome to my community, and I will share the link in the description. You can join my free community, self love space, there. So yes, tomorrow is going to be the last day of the series, and I'm very excited for it. I haven't decided upon the topic yet. I'll see what I can bring. And yes, so let's meet for the 21st day of this series tomorrow, and we will explore another deck tomorrow. Bye bye.